Let's go. Let's go. 42-21. It's like the 98 Vikings all over, just outscoring the other team with the deep passing game. Let's go. All right, it's time for another edition of You Make the Call.
IBM presents You Make the Call.
Vikings have second and goal after the worst quarterback sneak attempt in history. What brilliant play does Kevin O'Connell call? A, another quarterback sneak. B, a run up the middle. C, a run to the side. D, have Sam Darnold roll out and direct snap it to Aaron Jones and get stuffed and get a penalty. The answer, of course, is D. A play that like a really bad college coach would dismiss as too dumb. Thankfully, the Vikings ended up scoring on that drive, scored on a lot of drives, and looked really good. It's all about Sam Darnold, MVP, 16 for 18, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in the second half.
Yay! Yep. Thank
fumbles.
you, Jesus. Yep, thank you. Now you better get this point.
5 touchdowns for the game. Again, 1998 Vikings type running up the score here. Didn't matter that the Vikings defense was softer than Kirk Cousins' biceps. Didn't matter that the Vikings offensive line couldn't block anybody for much of the game. I think the Falcons defense, outplayed the Vikings defense. And the Falcons O-line outplayed the Vikings O-line. And the Vikings won by 3 touchdowns. You can thank a couple of your receivers, but you can mostly thank your quarterback, Sam Darnold. The killer. The man. How about that long touchdown pass to Jefferson? Darnold drops back. A guy comes completely unblocked. And a couple other guys were barely blocked. Darnold jumps to the left to avoid the unblocked guy and then rolls out to the right. Just amazing for him to escape that rush. Buy time. Throw deep. Touchdown. Darnold just kept pouring it on. The Vikings defense would collapse after collapse. 3rd and 8 late in the first half. Harrison Ford ignores Drake London. Big play. Leads to a Falcons field goal late in the half. Darnold kept pouring it on. And let's talk about Kirk Cousins. How did he do? Well, he put up a lot of yards, not a ton of points. It's a typical Kirk Cousins performance. But he did put up 21 points in the first 3 quarters. And it's the type of performance that if Kirk Cousins had done this for the Vikings last year, the year before, or whenever, all the fanboys would have been like, well, he did his job. He can't play defense. It's not his fault the defense can't stop the other team. Well, you know what? The Vikings defense couldn't stop the other team. And Sam Darnold said, well, guess what? We're still going to win. We're just going to pour it on.
Do it again in the fourth quarter here. Wants Addison downfield. Comes back. Fights for the ball.
Until the game is over. That's what you need at quarterback. Someone who wins you the game when your other players aren't winning you the game. Now, having said all that, the defense is going to be our Achilles heel. And I don't know how much of it is talent and how much of it is scheme. It looked like they tried to blitz a lot and couldn't get pressure. That's a problem. But it also, looks like they can't stop the other team. They rely on turnovers. Oftentimes turnovers after the other team has driven down the field and worn out the defense. The defense is out there forever. How long can they hold up? And at some point, a defense has to be able to stop the other team and not rely on a turnover on the 10th play of the drive. They're not forcing the issue with their defense. But we got Darnold. And we need to keep Darnold. Everybody says we're not going to keep Darnold. Well, we got to keep Darnold. Anyway, awards for this week. The John D. Filippo Award for the worst play call in NFL history. You put your 2 best receivers right next to each other. You throw a quick pass to one of them. Then the other one gets hit so hard that there's like a 50% chance he's going to be out for the rest of the game. I saw a couple candidates for that. The first one was, of course, that 2nd and goal where you roll Darnold to the right and then you direct snap to Aaron Jones. You telegraph what you're going to do, snap and run up the middle, and you're also playing with 10 guys instead of 11. It's brilliant. It's basically like tying one arm behind your back or one leg behind your back and trying to win a butt kicking contest. It's just brilliant. Now that was cool back in the early 2000s or late 90s, whenever the Wildcat came in, and that was like a big deal for like 2 weeks. It's not cool anymore. PJ Fleck would think it's brilliant, but he's about the only one.
Pocket pool champion of the week goes to Gophers football coach PJ Fleck.
But the winner, it was like I think a first down play, 1st and 10, and it was like a end around, reverse, flea flicker, throwback play that lost 5 yards. It was the most complicated play, I think, in history, and lost 5 yards.
The most fun loss of 4 that an offense has ever had.
And set the Vikings back. And I don't know, Kevin O'Connell just loves to do these plays that are extremely complicated and don't work. Although I do think, honestly, even though I gave the award to that play, I think rolling Darnold out to the right on 2nd and goal was a lot dumber. That play has no chance of working. Whereas the flea flicker reverse end around probably had a 10% chance of getting a yard. The typical Viking award, there's 2 candidates for that this week. There was Oliver caught a big pass near the end where he just ran all the way across the field and could have easily gone down in bounds, kept the clock running, or forced the Falcons to call timeout, but he ran out of bounds. Stopped the clock. But the winner, typical Viking, was whatever idiot, don't know his name, not going to look it up, who lined up offsides on the punt in the first half. And the award for the play where I screamed at the TV so loud that my wife actually remembered I exist. When was the last time I made you happy? That was, again, that play where the guy lined up offside on the punt. I saw when they're lined up before the snap, I see he's lined up offsides. I'm screaming at the TV. He's offsides. And my wife's like, oh, that's right. You're here. Stupid. And then the Falcons, they got it 5 yards, lined up to go for it and didn't go for it, and then punted again. And, it was just comedy of errors on both teams' parts there. But that stupidity that the Vikings show on special teams, it's just going to kill them. It's going to kill them in a big game. Speaking of killing, the Killer Instinct Award goes to Sam Darnold, the guy who has it. He has that thing where mentally you always think you're in it. You always keep trying to win the game. The Stench of Failure Award goes to Mike Hughes, who, at least in the first half, seemed like every other play, he was getting burned. And, of course, former Vikings first-round pick, I think in 2018 or 2019. That stench of being a failed Vikings first-round pick just never goes away. Now, I am sad because I wanted to give the Kirk Cousins Award for garbage passing statistics to Kirk Cousins. But he didn't get one. He came close a couple times, but he just couldn't do it. He's just impotent. It's too bad. He's now below 500, 6-7. And I think you could pretty much start closing the book on the Kirk Cousins experiment in Atlanta. It's going to last about a year there. Last like 6 years here. That mediocrity, no matter where you go, that mediocrity follows him everywhere. Sam Darnold, far from mediocre this year. He's on fire. Love him. MVP. Sign him. Let's go.